Welcome to our channel today. It's good to be with you again on this bright and beautiful day. The weather is nice and calm and cool today, which is strange for just the 1st of September. But we have to learn to enjoy these things when we get them, don't we? Also, we just hit our number 100 subscriber a couple of days ago, which is good for me considering how low I started and how long it took because I sort of made very few YouTube videos for a long time. I'm just really getting into it. In any case, I'd like to thank all of you for subscribing or even just watching the videos, giving them a thumbs up, and would hope that more of you would subscribe. Give us a thumbs up so we can build this channel. What I'd like to talk about today is an experience I had looking at a live interview of Cornel West. I had a strange reaction. I watched him talking. I watched him answering all of these questions and things like that. And some very hard questions were put to him. And then he started talking about something that I never heard of in our political movements in the United States. He was talking about love and compassion. He is openly a Christian, but not a dogmatic one. And he was talking about the need not only for love and compassion and caring among the people of this nation, but also love and compassion and caring from the leaders, loving enough and being compassionate enough to speak the truth and to push for policies that would give people living wages, give people education, cut back on all of the wars we're engaged in and use that budget for humane care. This hit me. I don't know what it was about what he was saying, but it sounded like the Christian message. And when I mean the Christian message, I don't mean the people running around with their big mouths and wearing crosses so big that they can barely stand up around their neck, carrying pulpit Bibles around, quoting words and not loving anyone. I mean the real message. You see, you can tell a real Christian when you see him. You really can. My mother was a Pentecostal. She had a very rough childhood, was an orphan, lived through all kinds of tragedies, and she became this born again Christian. And it's very interesting because she actually was one. So we're sitting in the middle of this neighborhood that's becoming a violent ghetto, and she's struggling with trying to get her children to live in this violent ghetto without fighting and struggling. And I could see by the way that she behaved that she was a Christian. She tried everything she could to get us to behave well and to not go out in the streets and fight and all of those things. And then she discovered that we had to do that in order to survive, to not get picked on or bullied the rest of our lives. So it happened. But she was always a decent person. Sometimes people's children would be thrown out of the house, believe it or not, and they'd come and sit on our porch in the freezing weather, and my mother would let them in and give them food sometimes and take care of them. And that is a Christian. Maybe that's why I started to tear up. Because now we have all these old racist and homophobic people and people who hate immigrants and who hate the poor blasting their mouths out, hollering and shouting and pretending like they're Christians, quoting the Bible. One even took some Bibles and wrapped it around a baseball bat and beat on a Barbie dollhouse. These people are nuts. But when you see these nutty people and you see how loud they're shouting, it shows you something. shows you they're just a distraction. They want to keep you away from the truth. They want to keep you away from the power that you have, the power that we all have together. Because you see, the power that we all have together, whether we be religious or non-religious, or no matter what religious or sect we come from, the power that we have is the type of love that Cornel West was talking about. Loving one another and doing firstly what is kind, what is peaceful, what is loving, knowing that we are all part of the divine, or the Christians call it children of the divine, knowing that we are all one family, and if we can put our power of compassionate love together and struggle for the type of justice that the real Christians talk about, that flows down like rivers of living water, we can change ourselves, our community, and the world. The problem is many of these Christian institutions have been captured. They're receiving money from rich people. They're using their offerings and tithes through the back door to support politicians who just want control over other people, who want to cause distraction by making everyone miserable, by creating violence, by putting people into the church not as something that sets them free, but as a franchise. A franchise that gives these few people at the top the power to manipulate and move the government so that they can get more and more money, more and more power, ascend to the highest seat, and become like the Most High God on earth. The thing that is opposite of what they claim. And so for me, it was very good. It was a relief to see a decent man running for president. One who is being ignored, of course, by all of the media, or called a spoiler because he's going to take the Democrats' votes away. It's kind of sad when you think about it. It's very sad when a person who talks about better education, cutting back on all of these wars, providing health care, providing communication, giving labor rights to people and giving them a living wage would take votes away from another group of people who don't even have that on the agenda and who never mention all the pain and suffering that this nation's going through right now. So what I am basically getting out of my reaction to this man and what he is saying is that how we as a nation, we've really become messed up. I was watching a YouTube video, a reaction video to a TikTok that said, "How has America messed you up?" And there were all these stories about these people who went overseas, who went into the hospital and received medicine without having to pay for it. People who went and had children and who were ready to leave the hospital after 3 days of after having a C-section, and they were told, no, you have to stay here. You just had major surgery. And they were allowed to stay for another week without paying extra. Whereas here they want you out as fast as they can get you out because of insurance reasons. And some of the things they kept saying was, we realized that in many cases we were more worried about money than the health of the people involved. We were afraid to get medicine because of how much it costed. One of them was afraid to call an ambulance for someone because of the cost of an ambulance being $3, $4, $5,000 here, and she discovered that there in France it was €7. They had really messed us up in this country. And if you're the type of person who is angry who points the finger at people like immigrants or poor people or black people or white people or people who are GLBTQI plus. Remember that it's probably not even coming from what you're feeling. It's not coming from your heart. It's not coming from your divine self. It's coming from all of those thoughts and all of those ideas and the hard-hearted way that we have learned to develop to protect ourselves in a nation with leaders who just do not love us, do not care, do not set a prime example, and who see profit as their God. Profit is their God. Capitalism is their worship. And that is why if you try to do anything good, you have to filter it through capitalism. There are some things that you could do without having to worry about money that you can never do in the society because of the need for money. Capitalism is the religion, not the economic system of the United States and most of the Western world. And the God is profit. It's time for us to break free from our adherence to that God, get rid of the hard-heartedness, and to see beyond all of those with the big mouths, to those who are beautiful, those who are wonderful, those who really live whatever their faith is, the core value of it. And the core value of most faiths are compassion and love. If you have compassion and love, you can throw out everything else because you will have arrived and returned back to the greater self, back to your origin. And that is what the real meaning of the word religion is. It comes from religios, bending back or folding back to one's origins. And what is your origin? The breath of the one. And in most languages, breath is defined as two things: energy and spirit. That is your identity. You are the spirit of love. So let's all celebrate this together. Namaste, folks. You can find more information below if you want to learn more about us and the things we're doing in this world, trying to create a better world in the spirit of love. Thank you once again.